How's it going, everybody? It's Ray with MountainReporters.com. We are broadcasting from right here in Lake Arrowhead. This is the spillway for the entire lake of Lake Arrowhead. All the water in the lake comes through this channel right here. And what we're standing on right here, if you look, these are the gates that have been in question. Lots of questions on social media have been risen about why these are open, why they're closed, why they're not open, and what happens. And so what we wanted to do is come here and talk to just go straight to the source and find out the science behind why these are being opened and closed and how that affects the lake in general, and get the word on how that management of this spillway greatly influences the recreationability of the lake, how it affects the homeowners, and just the general lake health in general. So we were able to talk to Stuart Reeves in an in-depth interview explaining how this works and the science behind the opening and the closing of the spillway. And we're going to go to that story right now.
Well, I'm Stuart Reeves. I'm the lake supervisor here at the ALA, which is the Arrowhead Lake Association. The very top of this lake, what we call full lake, is 5106.7 above sea level, and that's a datum that we use at the ALA. It's not the USGS datum. That's actually a difference of about 8 feet if you had an altimeter and put it right on the lake level. But that's what it is. So it's 5106.7 from sea level. So what can happen in a torrential storm when we're full, which we almost had, is that we're getting just so much water coming in that those two gates can't manage enough water out, and we go way up over that few inches over the spillway. We end up getting 2-3 feet over the spillway. Then we're flooding the village, the various houses around the lake that are built lower, and that happens. So we are mandated to adjust that gate system so that we can let water out in time to not fill it too far up.
So that brings me to the next question. And this is probably the question that is sparking all the controversy. The gates, you're saying, so the top is at 5106.7.
Correct.
If the gates weren't there and there was just a wall at 5106.7 and it spilled over every time it just got there, and then if it went below that, it'd stop it there. It seems to me, and I'm not a waterologist,
Yeah, neither am I a hydrologist,
but it
no.
seems that would negate the need for the gates. And if the spillway automatically lets water out, then what are the gates there for? What is it holding back if we can only go so high anyways?
That's a good question, and that's exactly what it is that the spillway, which is a natural spillway that's at this high level, and as soon as it hits that, it just starts spilling over by itself. It just won't spill enough out when we've got 27 inlets coming in all at once with rushing water. So the lake will fill up too much for us to manage. First of all, that whole creek of Willow Creek will spill over the spillway with feet coming over it, and it becomes a dangerous situation where that spillway could tear itself out. It could rush out too fast. It could just do lots of damage. We manage the spill out so that we don't fill up too fast and it has 4 feet of water flowing over it. Understand what I'm saying? So those gates actually open up 2 feet below the spillway. So when we crank those gates open, water's really going out of there. But even with the gates open, the 2 times we've opened it so far this season, we've only had the lake drop 2 inches in 24-hour periods of those gates being open. So the gates only let a little bit more out, but enough to keep us from flooding as long as Mother Nature's being cooperative. There's a science to this, but it's not a perfect science. I don't think there is such a thing.
Well, it's hard when you're dependent on the weather.
We do.
The weather changes.
And the procedures that have been put in place have been honed for years and years because we're doing it for our members to keep this lake full. So that's kind of the way it's happened. So right now, I want whoever's reading your website, I want them to know there are very strict procedures in place.
And that procedure usually includes inspecting the water going through the spillway, looking at weather reports for monitoring incoming potential precipitation, consulting with an engineer and a hydrologist, as well as a time-tested protocol, all that must happen before one or both of the spillways are open. We also spoke to the Lake Arrowhead Community Services District to touch on a very hot topic for the Lake Arrowhead residents regarding the spillway. We talked to Randa at the LACSD in a phone interview, and we asked if the lake level affects water pricing, and the simple answer is no. The amount of water in the lake has no bearing whatsoever on how much a resident's water bill is. What a great bunch of information we just learned from Stuart Reeves. And Stuart is the one who has his hand on the pulse of everything happening on this spillway. Between him and the hydrologists, the engineers, that's who is maintaining the beauty of the lake, the health of the lake, the sustainability of the lake. Everything having to do with that is such a big team analyzing so much data to determine on whether or not these are going to be opened or closed, and how that'll affect the lake and how long they stay open, when they're open. Great things that we learned today. Thanks for following us on Facebook and following our website. It's me, Raymond Ray with MountainReporters.com. I'll see you next time. Have a good day.